G'day and welcome to The Tackle, Nova 937's look back at the three big moments of the weekend's AFL action. My name's Joel Gelding. I once got 3 handballs in a single game. That's in a single game, Mr. McManus.
Fantastic. I want to know how many kicks you had in that game.
We won't get into that, but with me as ever is former co-captain of the Fremantle Dockers, 228 games. Shaun McManus, how are you, mate?
Yeah, great, mate. Another big weekend of footy. Just keeps getting bigger. A lot of people tipped 9 winners this weekend, Joel.
Yeah, including me. But really nothing to brag about. It was a lot of easy games. I thought one of the matches of the round definitely was Adelaide Crows v the Hawthorn Hawks on Saturday afternoon. It was a lot closer than I think a lot of people thought it was going to be. The Crows' first game without the big Tex, the mullet man. How do you think they went? They
went pretty well. You wouldn't have thought they would have been able to hang in there for so long, but their forward line operated pretty well. I'm just wondering if they can sustain that through the next couple of months of footy. I mean, he's not coming back this season. He is a big loss.
Yeah, and their midfielders finally stood up. You got the guys like Patrick Dangerfield. He got 34 touches and 2 goals. He looked absolutely awesome, but none of us really expected the Crows to do stuff like this.
Here it comes. Douglas has been fantastic. Breaks the tackle. Tied him on the boundary line. Lines it up. He's going to have to kick it because there's no one to go. Keep running. He runs in and kicks a goal. Douglas goes berserk. Ivy Stadium stands up with 32 seconds to go in the third term.
Another part of that game we want to touch on as well is the fact that Lance Franklin, 2 games in a row, has been kept goalless. I think they said it was the first time in like 5 years that's happened. Should they be worried about the big Frank?
Look, he's a real confidence player, and I tell you what, if he gets a couple on the board, you cannot stop him. The worry would be for me, they're playing him up the ground a fair bit. He likes to come up the ground and get a few touches. I'd play him as a permanent full forward till he gets some confidence going. He's able to beat his opponent with speed, strength generally, and the fact that he's really tall as well. If he gets a couple on the board, he'll be unstoppable for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's pretty good, and I'm sure his contract negotiations that are going on right now have nothing to do with this slight patch of poor form.
Oh, yes.
Moving on to our next game, Shawnee, Richmond v Geelong. I thought this was a cracking game. Definitely the first half. It was some really good action, really goal for goal, and the Tigers look pretty good.
Yeah, they look really good. I've got to say, I fell for Richmond. The free kick count at one stage was about 4-15, and wow. I've got to say, it shouldn't be that lopsided. Richmond fans were going bananas there at times. They hung in there, but the true form of Geelong stayed strong, didn't they? They were absolutely brilliant.
6-0 now, and they are just so good at finding their next couple of players that come along. All of a sudden, they've got all these young guys that are making them as strong as they were 4 or 5 years ago. Do you see them keep going along in this season, or is it going to slow down for them a bit?
Well, I would have thought it'd slow down, but like you said, the next guy down the chain keeps stepping up and doing the job for them. Have been brilliant. They play the Geelong style of football. Everybody's buying in, and Chris Scott's got a team that's a definite chance.
And they set up a blockbuster this Friday against Essendon. Both teams 6-0. That's going to be a hell of a game. I really enjoyed watching Matty Stokes on the weekend. I thought he had a really good game, and I actually heard Billy Brown. I know he's a former Geelong legend,
yes,
but he said that's his tip for the Cats B&F this year is Stokes.
Well, that's a fair call. He's very lively in the forward line, has been over the last couple of years, but he gets up the ground now and contributes in that way, and he's certainly a team player.
Let's have a look at Stokes doing stuff like this against the Tigers.
Some building from 50 metres out. Went to ground. There's Stokes at the crucial moment. Now he's going to beat 3 Tigers. Grimes, he's beaten a couple. Beautiful handball back to West. Brilliant play by Stokes to get it to West.
Our final game we're going to take a look at is, well, we have to look at this, don't we? West Coast Eagles v Western Bulldogs. You'd like to say the Eagles got back into good form, but, I mean, they're going against the Bulldogs, a team that we don't expect to do very well this year. What was your take on it, Shawnee?
Well, it's good to get a free hit every now and then, and that's what the West Coast got on the weekend. They've actually got a few of them over the next couple of weeks, and sometimes it's just an opportunity for the team that isn't performing well to gather slowly momentum. You're playing against the Western Bulldogs yesterday, pretty ordinary by the way, yeah. And then you've got Gold Coast and Brisbane coming up in the next 3 out of the 4 weeks. You've got teams you can beat. I can see them gathering some serious momentum with all these guys starting to come back in, Joel. And in a month's time, I'm sure we'll be able to judge West Coast and how they're going.
Even though last week he did say that they can't win the premiership, but they might start.
They can't win the premiership.
Said it again. He said it again. We did like seeing Sharad Wellingham made his long-awaited debut for the Eagles after Trampoline Gate. And then, of course, Nic Nat Geez, the crowd loved seeing him do this sort of thing.
Nat in the ruck. And Big Nat Nui thumps it almost a half forward.
Just finally on the Eagles game, Shaun, I reckon the fans would be very happy to see that they were a bit more accurate than they have been in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Did look a bit shaky a couple of times with Mark LeCras having a few shots that you probably thought he would have got, but Kennedy, Darling, and of course Big Dean Cox taking some marks in the forward lines was fantastic. I'm sure the Eagles fans will be up and about this morning. All of a sudden they think the comeback is on the cards. Like I said, I've got no doubt they'll win the next 4 games. They've got some pretty easy teams. I don't get it, though, that Nic Nat, every time he touches the ball with one finger, gets the crowd all involved and all excited.
They love him.
A tap on the ground, a run to the bench. Everybody loves it.
Has there been a more popular player than Nic Nat for the West Coast Eagles? They love him.
You got to say that Ben Cousins in his prime was the #1 man, but I tell you, Nick's taken over the number 9 jersey straight off Benny, and he's taken it to a new height.
So there you go. Really not much controversy over the weekend. Very easy games to tip. There were no upsets either, but this weekend, I'm looking forward to it. Bombers, Geelong, Friday night. It's going to be a blockbuster.
That will be a ripper. Fremantle playing Collingwood at home this Saturday night will be a ripper too. And we've got to mention that the Dockers were terrific against Gold Coast. There, I've said it.
Yeah, and it was really good action over the weekend. We hope to see the Eagles and Dockers get another win this weekend. We'll see you next week on The Tackle.
Nova.